Alright.
For whatever reason, my, it's probably because I haven't restarted my computer in a while. How much longer are you gonna be on?
Let me check the time. What's
So
this
let's
about?
talk about music.
Oh, baby. Okay, what about it?
Well, I mean, specifically, there have been, what, two, King Gizzard albums that have passed us by that I've not spoken about?
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah, that's
maybe
kind of a
more
problem.
than two.
What was the
This
last
is
one?
choppier than last time.
Last one was Butterfly 3000.
Yeah, but you're not counting Timeline.
I guess not. Hold up. Gotta pull up their discography.
Anyway, that's one of the reasons. But let's talk about some other stuff too.
Four.
Let's start with some introductions. Obviously, this is the Little Drip, right? But since I'm Fando Dando, I guess you get a beast. Does Fando Dando actually even have guests anytime?
I think when he does like live webcam podcast type things and interviews, yeah, he does interviews, but typically not on like the main show. No.
Oh well, whatever. I just like saying the Little Drip.
Tell you what, let's all be Fando Dando.
That's our non-copyrighted
I guess
music
music
show.
that you've just discovered recently. Let's talk about that. What have you discovered that you want to listen to?
Discovered recently, and it's kind of my new thing.
Doesn't have to be new.
Yeah, not necessarily new. This one came out in 2020. Soccer Mommy, Color Theory.
Soccer Mommy? I have never heard of this band.
Soccer Mommy, yeah.
I do not know
Soccer
that
Mommy?
band.
They were on KEXP, actually, believe it or not. So, that's how you know you made it as an indie band. They invite you out there to Seattle.
That's kind of true. And sadly, that is where I learn a lot of my music, or used to anyway.
You really have just found this band then.
Yeah, they're one that I would kind of throw out there.
Soccer Mommy. What do they even do?
Soccer Mommy. Indie shoegazy. Indie
Oh no,
shoegazy.
another snail paste effect heavy band enters the ring.
I don't know.
The
I don't know how it's. Yeah.
I also have a band that you've probably not heard of. We'll talk about that briefly because once we get talking about the actual King Gizzard albums, I'm assuming we both listened to them.
If I don't, you will yell at me, so yeah.
No.
Really?
Hold up. I've listened to Omnium Gathering. I have yet to listen to Ice Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it a little bit then. Anyway, so a band I've actually discovered, well, actually, I say discovered, I found them back maybe a year or so ago, but I never made a big deal about it, because they're the newest of new kind of bands. Yeah, like, their YouTube channel has 8 subscribers.
Wow, look at you, Miss Hipster.
And
that's good. That's good.
They're
keeping on the low key.
Well, I mean, they're just now getting their first album. That's why I'm talking about it now. They had, I think, maybe 4 or 5 songs prior to this, and all of them were done with equally terrible music videos. It was actually, they've taken them all down now, unfortunately. they were priceless.
But we didn't save those music videos.
I did not.
Oh man.
So those are lost to time unless someone put them on the way back.
Don't worry, I'll go look for it quickly. It's likely elsewhere on the net.
Okay, you got a point.
I'm gonna have to apologize to our very few subscribers for that.
Anyway, the band's called Farm, with PH. They're from some portion of Canada that I don't know or really care about.
Yeah, screw you Canadians.
And, they have a great, let's say, progressive rock kind of sound to them for this age. Like, you don't really find a lot of Western bands that sound like that anymore. They just now got their first album out.
Found the videos.
Jesus Christ!
The album is Vortex.
Hold on. So I'm looking them up now. Are you
solid,
sure?
Let's say, theme throughout the thing. It doesn't bounce around. There's a few songs where they go delving into electronic-y keyboard stuff. But you can put that as more interludes than actual songs. I really do like what they got going on with this one. Anyway, so since you don't have any, per se, prior knowledge of this band, we'll move on quickly, I guess, to what Yugata has for us.
Oh boy, it's my time to shine. Let's talk about Suspended Fourth. They are a Japanese rock band with their second album out this year, and Does It Ever Flow. I love these guys. They have that distinct Japanese rock sound. Those who know will know it, but beyond that they have managed to capture the happy fast bounce of a Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack. Technically the singer could be better, but that is such a common complaint in any band. Getting the exact sound you want to hear from a singer differs for each person, so it's fine. They got great riffs, an amazing bassist, and a half Ugandan drummer who really knows how to boogie a beat. Honestly, he was the reason I started listening to the band. Love them so much.
Oh, so Suspended Fourth actually spelled out.
Yeah.
Okay. I wrote in literally sus fourth, as you would write it in music, but you actually do spell suspended out. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you find out he's half Ugandan, half Japanese?
It says he is on the wiki, so I assume he is at least. If you want a good example of this band at its best, take a listen to Stratocaster Seaside.
Okay. Stratocaster Seaside 22?
22 is the version of the song they did some rework to for the new album. Honestly, I didn't think it needed help, but whatever. It is on both albums due to that.
On to the actual discussion of the day. One would think if, we didn't actually have other videos to talk about, that we're literally just a King Gizzard news channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, any discussion of music around you goes back to Stuart's luscious hair.
When we weren't downloading the internet, we were discussing King Gizzard.
Well, the interesting thing is it just was me to begin with, but I've been infecting everyone else.
I mean, they're good, dude. The reason why. It's infectious.
So you've not listened to Timeland?
Ooh. That's an EP, right?
I don't know where it stands on the album description. I just know that it's something they put out since Butterfly 3000.
I think I did listen to that. Is that the one where it's like 2 songs, but they're insanely long?
Yes.
It's been a while since I heard it to really give you an in-depth.
Well, it's been a while since I've heard it too, but I mean, I still remember what I think about it.
Alright, well tell me what you think about it.
Well, okay, it's very different than what they normally do. And keep in mind, I am well aware that the band changes what they do every album. But normally they still use the same kind of instruments. You know, you have what was originally kind of a garage rock slash surf rock sound, I guess. Then with, I guess, honestly, the beginning of it would have been Fishing for Fishies. The Arcane, and then Psy Boogie. Very electronic heavy. But it wasn't until, Butterfly 3000 that we get a whole lot more synth used in their music. And this one specifically is nothing but electronic. And briefly, Ambrose doing his rap thing. I think this was primarily maybe just Ambrose? I really don't know who was the mind behind this one. I think it might have been Ambrose and Cav.
Cav definitely. The beats in that album sound like his composition.
That's my assumption anyway, given the style used.
Yeah, see, I don't know enough about the band's dichotomy in their members to have an opinion on that. I know they have a lot of members and they each bring most of the members are multi-instrumentalists.
Honestly, I do consider them kind of like the new Beatles. Because of the amount of work that they put out, and because of the amount of different styles that they kind of move through, and because almost every one of the members is an active part in writing the music. It's not as though it's just one person doing all of the work. They all basically are their own musicians, and they all have a few songs of their own on each album.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but that's an interesting way to put it.
And I mean, if you really know, let's say, the sound they all use, you can kind of tell who did what song.
Yeah, nah, that's your delusion talking, darling.
Timeline was kind of more on the jazzy side, right?
I wouldn't consider anything other than electronic.
Was that electronic?
Admin. That album is nothing but electronics
and it was
and
entirely electronic. Okay, let's stop talking about Timeland. Let's talk about...
I'm probably thinking something else then.
Let's talk about Omnium Gatherum, or however you want to pronounce it.
Well.
Yeah.
What do you think about that one?
Latin, I don't care. Metally. Pretty good.
This is what Venetian Snares does to your brain, everyone.
Too many drums have beaten down his long-term memory.
This is what listening to an album through once and then never listening to it again does to your brain. And then being asked what you thought about it 6 months later.
Well, let's wrap up this conversation here then.
I mean, in my opinion, that really doesn't mean you're a fan, but whatever.
I mean, I think it's more of a curious fan. You're curious what they've done.
Yeah, speak it, brother. Not everyone is obsessed as you with this band No Name.
I'll take a listen through it.
Okay, well, I'll make this somewhat briefer then. To be honest, I was kind of disappointed with this album. It was an okay album, but what I like about King Gizzard, other than the fact that they're all gorgeous, is that they have something basically new and tonally consistent throughout all of their releases. Each album is more or less, you consider it one of their periods. You know, like this album specifically. I mean, take for instance, Infest the Rat Nest. That's their metal album. You want to listen to their jazz? You go to Paper Mache Balloon. You basically have an album dedicated to a specific sound. But in the case of, say, this one was all over the place. Now, that's not the first time this has happened, but this is the first time it's happened, let's say, out of design? Gumboot Soup, which is maybe 10 albums old at this point. It's actually quite a ways back. That was, if I'm remembering correctly, the last of their 5 albums that they did in 1 year. And they threw that one together because it was a bunch of songs that they couldn't fit into their other albums. And they just made a few more songs to throw into and make an album of its own. So it's all over the place because it was never really meant to be an album of its own.
Tonally consistent.
Yes. But that's what I'm feeling about Omnium Gatherum. It's
You feel it's like the B-list of Infested Rat's
Well,
Nest.
no. It's stuff that they had made for an album, but the album doesn't have any consistency. It's like they went out of their way to do an album where every song is going to be almost an entire juxtaposition to the last one. The only two songs that seem to flow on that album is the first 2, and those are the first 2 that they released. So that's what I was expecting from the rest of the album. You know, what the first song is The Dripping Tap, and then the next song is Magenta Mauta. And both those songs have the same kind of sound. So I was expecting that kind of sound through the entire album. And then I get something entirely different. So it was a little bit of a disappointment. But it's an okay album, if you can get past that.
I'm gonna have to listen to that again because I don't remember it being like that stylistically different.
I guess we can talk about something else then, because no point in talking about that one yet. We'll talk about that. I'll talk about that with someone else.
To be continued.
Who actually cares.
Oh, rip.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that if I was talking about the niche, we'd have something to talk about. But we don't really have anything to talk about. When it comes to
I don't really want to know about that. I'll be honest. Yeah, I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
What was his newest album?
He hasn't really released anything recently. I want to say it was...
She cries
Bricks?
brick buildings or something, right?
There was one after that he did. It was a collaboration with somebody I've not ever really heard of, Daniel Lanois, however you pronounce his name. And then he did a re-release of an old album he made in the 90s. And that's pretty much been it.
Is he going to remix or remaster the album about his cats?
I doubt it. I don't see any reason to remaster pretty much anything, or re-release. To be honest with you.
Well, let's you got any
Move
other
on.
bands? You got any other bands?
That I've been
Recently?
listening to recently, or like good recommendations.
Well, we can put either, because this is the actual music video. Last one we did,
Yeah.
and it was a little too, let's say, rushed, specifically about Butterfly 3000, and we didn't really talk about anything else. So,
Yeah, that was a bit too focused to be called a music discussion.
Was I on that? I didn't
Yeah, it was
remember.
just
No,
me and you,
just
Gabba.
No Name and Me.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Because like we were in the middle of recording an actual music discussion, and I remember it just basically was nothing but King Gizzard was like the entirety of it, and there wasn't very much.
Oh, you mean the views? You mean that video that you were supposed to do and never released?
Yeah, yeah.
Was something like that happened? Go figure.
I forgot that even existed.
Yeah, well, you know, like many projects around here. Unlike yourself, because you're so fabulous at editing and getting stuff done and productive, some of us around here just start things and leave them unedited.
Are you actually trying to say you attempt to make videos? Cause I know for a fact that in several discussions we have had you shot down video ideas that would have been as simple as you turning on your camera to record what you were already doing.
Tell you what, let's go for recommendations in each different specific genre. So, for someone who's a fan of country music.
We probably look like a retard. What are you?
Well, okay, if you're not gonna give one, here's my recommendation. Fan of country music? Die.
Wow. If you are a fan of country music, or can we incorporate folk music? Because I don't have any recommendations.
I have a recommendation for country music. So you like playing that stuff loud in your truck, right? Of course you do. Well, if you drive into a lake, the water actually makes the music more boomy for yourself and dampens the awful sound for the rest of us. It's a win-win.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a pretty hard take.
That's because there is no good country music.
I mean, if we're incorporating folk, I would say like early Dylan is pretty interesting. I'm not really a fan, but it has its own kind of rough charm to it.
Honestly,
like very early Dylan.
I'm just saying, that's a really normie take.
What's
like,
a normie take?
Recommending Bob Dylan? I mean, not that I really care, but that's like recommending Led Zeppelin. They're a good band, but you know, do you really recommend?
I mean, yeah, but I can't. That's it. That's the only thing I've got for country.
Okay, so we've covered country. Let's talk about someone decent to listen to in hip hop.
The newer hip hop is a bit lacking in my opinion.
To be honest, I'm not that versed in hip hop, but my recommendation, of course, is going to be MF Doom, Madvillain, just because it's like, wow, that's the most hipster, like, expected take you could possibly make, but it's like, yeah, but it's really good. It's kind of like the only, you know, outside of like some old school stuff, it's kind of the only like more modern hip hop I can see, kind of, because most of it's just kind of...
I mean, you got as a fan of hip hop, but I'm really not. My only, let's say, recommendation, I guess, would be Death Grinds.
Death Grind? Really?
Do what? Do what?
Really?
Who?
You know. It goes, Guillotine!
Say their name again?
I don't know their name, obviously. What's the name of the band?
Death Grips.
Death Grips.
Dude. More recent, like, good hip hop, I would consider, of course, Tyler, the Creator and Odd Future being, you know, just unique. They're very unique. They're not, they don't make stuff that you would expect. It's unexpected, it's kind of fresh. That's pretty much it, you know? I mean, it's kind of a lame...
Well, unfortunately, hip-hop and rap have kind of become synonymous. They are both closely related, sure, but there is a difference between the two. Take for instance Nujabes or Hideki Naganuma. Both of these guys are great hip-hop composers, but they have little rapping. And there is plenty of examples of rapping absent of hip-hop, Rage Against the Machine being the most recognizable.
Recommendations.
Now when we are talking about rappers, I don't care too much for the rappers that SoundCloud and the internet in general. The amount of low skill and slow mumbling rappers we have now is depressing. I don't even like Ludacris, but the difference between his skill and the current top rappers is staggering. Now rappers I do like, old school stuff from the 90s is fun, and the entire French hip-hop scene is great fun. Go take a listen to Lord Go City for a good sample of that style.
I'm afraid I'm just not really that versed in...
Okay, what are you versed in,
hip-hop.
other than EDM?
I'm not that versed in EDM.
Venetian Snares is EDM, I thought.
Technically, but it wouldn't. Let's just say you wouldn't play that at a rave.
So what is rave music?
Rave music? Just kind of
That
bright,
Sandstorm?
flashy. Yeah, but more than that, just bright, flashy, loud. EDM is kind of rave music, if you would. But like even someone like Aphex Twin, even though he played, has played countless raves, it is a very different experience because it's not as bright and flashy. I was gonna say danceable, but I don't know if that's a fair statement. But it's not as flashy. It's a lot more underground and grimy, and a little more on the darker and melodic side than, popping pills and dancing all night.
What would Neo Tokyo, that soundtrack, be classified as?
As I remember it, it had some like breakcore drum and bass music.
Drum and bass?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's my drum and bass recommendation. It's a good game if you can find people actually on the server, because the servers are almost always dead. But, good game, really good soundtrack.
Metal. I feel like there are two camps of metal. I feel like there's the Sabbath camp and there's the Motorhead camp. And maybe I guess you can consider Zeppelin kind of, maybe even pre-Motorhead, but I don't know. Whatever. I'm not gonna really get into that. I happen to be more on the slower Sabbath side of the metal camp. So my recommendations would be Sabbath, Melvins, Electric Wizard.
Oh yeah,
that
I remember you always tell me about Electric Wizard.
Yeah. There are a bunch of others. Kind of along that similar, more modern, along the similar vein, but as far as like thrash goes, I never really could get into thrash. Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, right? It's not as bad per se, it's just a style that I could never really get into.
I recommend Lulu. It's a
wow, what a great
Lulu,
album
by
yeah,
Metallica.
Solid 10 out
and
of
Lou
10.
Reed.
Everyone drop what you were doing and listen to it now.
It was named
Yeah.
after Lou Reed. That's why it's Lulu. It's his
I don't think it is.
female counterpart or something like that, I think.
Are you getting that off Wikipedia?
No, I'm making it up as I go along.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, it's a good story. We'll go with it. That's his female counterpart.
It makes as much sense as the actual story.
Do you know the actual story?
If you actually suffer through the album, there's a story for you, yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I couldn't get past the first track. It was, yeah, it was bad. It was Metallica does Ram Ranch.
60 naked cowboys in the showers. That is also worth dropping everything to listen to. So while Mr. Stoner over there might not understand the appeal of thrash, there exists a thrash album so good it stands up as timeless metal. No, I am not talking about Metallica. I am talking about Ultraviolence by Death Angel. The instrumentals are great. The band has a good tight sound that does not let up, and the singer, oh boy, that singer. He has the most thrash voice I have ever heard. Go listen to the album if you like metal. This will not let you down. What about pop music? Anybody got pop music recommendations?
So, yes, but I think for you would be a controversial take. Because I consider Gorillaz pop music, and also consider Saibo Mato pop music.
Well, it's Shibo Mato, but
Shibo
that
Mato.
I would definitely say is I don't like calling it that, but you might be right. it's a little too out there for me to consider pop music.
Well, it's what so Gorillaz, Saibo Mato, however you're supposed to pronounce that. Also, like Animal Collective, I would kind of throw them in what pop music should be about. Like pop musicians making pop music that pop should be about. But most of the times, it's just very generic, it's not unique. You know, I would consider them the exception of pop music. But because of that, they're not as popular. A little more underground because of that.
I guess that's true. I guess it's true.
Yeah.
At least with
in there.
Which one? Painting With, I think was the name of the album. That was very pop.
Yeah. I mean, so there would be some that with Animal Collective I would not consider pop. I would not consider Feels pop music. I would consider Song Tongs pop music, good pop music. I would consider Strawberry Jam, for the most part, pop music.
Screw Animal Collective, they haven't done anything worth listening to.
Or if we want to use the word, singable, danceable.
They kind of went back into that mindset after Painting With. I think the next thing they did was Meaning of the Waters? And that one was a drastic change. I was happy about that. Well, we've been talking about rock music already, so I guess we can skip that.
Oh, I got another rock band for you. Small Jackets, or instead you could listen to the Small Jackets. I also think perhaps Small Jackets. Listen to their album Just Like This, if you like Guns N' Roses or Mötley Crüe. If you want to hear something way better than they ever could do, if you want to hear the history of rock and roll condensed into 30 minutes, this is your album. Okay, you can move on now.
They're eating her! And then they're going to eat me!
Oh man, have you heard Sonic Adventure 2? It's like everyone's heard Sonic Adventure 2. What are you talking about? You know, I wanted to
Pumpkin Hill was
see if I could find them. See if I could. I was trying to think of like something that's far more underground, but. So punk is a very much a middle school, high school.
I would disagree with that, but you go right ahead.
It was a very middle school, high school part of my life.
Oh, your life, okay.
Yeah. And in middle school, high school, I really liked The Offspring. I actually listened to a lot more underground stuff then and knew of a lot more underground stuff. Especially considered my age. Should not have known certain punk bands like All and Descendants would be two punk bands that, you know, I remember listening to back in the day, which were bands that were pretty much, you know, maybe 10 years older than my time, probably more than that.
Well, good music doesn't die, but I guess you can debate whether or not that's actually good music.
Yeah, I mean,
for some reason people still like Black Flag.
And I listened to Black Flag, and I liked it just because it was trashy and bad. And if we're considering like around that same time, a band that was actually Fugazi.
I guess we can call them punk, yeah. They're not exactly punk, but they're pretty close
No,
to it.
but they're kind of the same.
Punk adjacent.
They're punk adjacent. They're in the scene, but they were actually like way talented.
I would recommend a band that's, I don't know if they're actually still doing anything, but they had a few good albums. Japanese punk band called King Brothers. You could basically go drag up any of their albums and enjoy yourself, but they've all got weird names, you know, like bunch of stars. I guess starting with say power and skate punk, a lot of the music just went to 4 kind of chords that you associate. But they actually did try and give some skill to their music, and they did a good job with it. Honestly, what makes them punk more than, say, the chord riffs is the singer. The singer's got that kind of 80s punk energy. You know, he's shouting at the microphone. Good stuff.
I am definitely not the fan of punk that No Name is, but one thing she showed me a long time ago kind of stuck with me. I love the Frustrators. I really don't know what the idea behind the band was, since each of the members were actively in other bands. They only got one album, but it's a good one. If you listen to nothing else on it, make sure to hear the Pirate song.
Jazz? We didn't do jazz.
I got some good jazz? Let's talk about jazz.
Let's talk jazz.
What would you recommend, Edmund?
I want to give like a really good suggestion. Man, you go first. Let me see if I can think of a good suggestion.
Okay. Something that's been making its rounds on the net recently. I'm not entirely sure why or how these things get picked up. Make sure I've got the right name here. I think it's Akira Suzuki or something like that. Album from 1975 called Cat. Very good at jazz. Actually, I would put that down to proto Seatbelts, also known primarily as the people that made the soundtrack for Cowboy Bebop. Very good album. Honestly, one of the best jazz albums I've heard in a long time. Also, I think, I forget the name of the guys who did it, but you can find it if you look up the name of the album. The name of the album is Modal Soul. I think that was 1977. Also a very good album with obviously a foreign jazz style. I think that one was made in Denmark, maybe? It was somewhere definitely in Central Europe, I'm sure.
Well, it could fall into a soundtrack category, I guess, but there was a Japanese movie from a long time ago called Black Sun. It was about a Showa-era punk who was obsessed with jazz and decided to help out a black American soldier who was hiding from military police for shooting someone, if I remember correctly. Great movie, great jazz. Well worth listening to.
I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm trying to think of like a really good suggestion.
Yeah, if you have to do a normie one, give a normie one. Hold up.
Yeah. See, that's not what. No, actually, I'm probably gonna do. Probably recommend Soweto Kinch.
I don't know if he's. Well, he certainly has jazz songs, so I'll give you that.
Yeah, he's got some jazz. He's more than jazz, but Soweto Kinch would be like a really good recommend.
That is just the way jazz has gone. There are a lot of jazz rap artists now.
He's got a very alien sound, though. It's not. I guess you would classify his jazz as bebop, but it's not exactly the Dizzy Gillespie style. It's good stuff. Good recommendation. Just little. You have to deal with rap if you don't like rap.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely elements of hip hop, but it's not hip hop. It's definitely far more jazz.
Do you want to do a YouTube kind of outro here?
I can do it.
Just do
okay,
a
everyone
kind of
like
outro
me,
here?
love me, sub me, dub me, follow me home for more videos. Give me your email address. Buy my stuff, buy her stuff, stuff our stuff. Buy me, we need stuff, we need stuff. You know you want to. Want a hug? Great, then give me stuff or staff some stuff for me. Want me to be your mom? Go see a doctor then, cause that is weird.
He just blank cut to end of.
Yeah, blank cut, end of video. We out.
Okay.